Hello everyone, today I'm excited about lmstudio, where you can discover, download and run local LLMs or large language models. The software has made it super easy for anybody just to run a chat program or use any LLMs directly from their local machine. They have software for the Mac, Windows and Linux. So today I'm using Windows. So go ahead, download Windows, run the installer, and that's all there is to it. No additional requirements needed. So once you have the software open, this is what it looks like. Over here we have a search box or search text box, which takes you to the search here on the left. It's kind of a quick link for everything. And then in front of you, it lists a feed from the Hugging Face site, which is just showing you what's new and noteworthy. And over here you can see it's kind of like a little model card. It has the description, it has some highlighted files, it has the date of when this was released, 29 days ago, and on the right it has the author and a URL to the Hugging Face model and a paper that it was published on. So there's kind of a feed of latest models from Hugging Face, which is really cool. Next, if you look at the top left, there is a check for updates. So there it goes and tells you whether or not you're running the latest version. And then on the right, there is some links to their main website, Twitter, GitHub, Discord, and the terms of use. So that's the home page. If we search for a model, so if we try to do this quick link search for Vicuna, and we hit search, you see now we're on the search page over here, and we have the screen split in two. On the left, all the projects that it found on the Hugging Face hub with a sort by most recent, or a sort by most likes, or a sort by most downloads, and of course we can say least recent or most recent. So that's how we sort this list. Then on the right we have details of the files that we can download and a link to the model card if we want to go to the Hugging Face site. In each of the files is a download button with the size of the file. Alright, so over here, what is this should work link here? So if we find something, say this 33 billion parameter model, you can see that it looks at our hardware on my machine and says that, this is probably not going to work on my machine because it requires 30 gigabytes plus RAM to use these models. So that's quite nice. It helps simplify which model to choose to download. Next thing I want you to look at is here, this little icon here tells you, if you mouse over it, this is 2-bit, low fidelity, extreme loss of quality, not recommended. Okay, this one is 3-bit, loss of quality. This is 4-bit, medium loss but recommended. And this one is 5-bit, slight loss of quality, also recommended. And then 6-bit and 8-bit. So these names, this Q8, Q6K, Q5M, KM, Q4KM, and so on, right? What do they really mean? Well, my understanding, and again I'm not an expert at this, but my understanding is the Q, as you can see, means 3-bit, and the Q4 here is 4-bit, and so on. So it's actually telling us the number of bits in this model. But what does the K and the M mean? Well, the M means medium, from what I can tell on my research. If we had an S, it would mean small, and if it was an L, it would mean large. And we could take a look at, say, one of these, and you can see here this S is 14 gigabytes and this M is 15 gigabytes, and this L is 17 gigabytes. So it does grow in size based on the size of the model. The other thing that I tried to search for is over here. Someone asked a similar question of what does all these mean, and the general answer here is go with something with K in the name. So do a KM will give you a good mix between speed and quality. Alright, so I'll leave this link here if you want to read more details about this, or go for your own research. Okay, so now if we go back to the Vicuna model that we're trying to download, and we obviously looking for KMs, we can try this one here, which is 782 megabytes, and we click download. When we do that, the little blue bar appears at the bottom here, and if you click this icon in the bottom right, it tells you, you can queue up downloads here, and they will appear in this section. So we'll let that download. Okay, now we can just close this section and get back to it at any point in time by clicking on that icon. Right, head over to this last button on the menu, My Models, and you'll see that here are all the models that you've downloaded. I recommend you change this local models folder. By default, it will use the Windows user directory, and maybe that's harder for you to find, but for me, I like to not use the user directory and change it to somewhere where it's easy for me to locate. It also tells you how much disk space that you are using based on all the downloads, so that's quite cool. Lastly, I would recommend that you choose a preset. So when you download a model, this might be like this, and what I recommend you do is either build your own presets or choose one from the existing list here. Right, presets just give you settings for that model when you start interacting with it. Okay, so let's head over to the chat now. If we go to the chat, this is our chat window where we can chat with models. On the top, we pick the model we want, so we can say we want the Llama 2 model. That starts loading it and gives us some basic information about the model. It's a 7 billion parameter model, it's Q5KM, and we can mouse over this and tell us that, slight loss of quality but still recommended model. And this is also nice here at the top left here, RAM usage, almost 6 gigabytes, and CPU usage, so that's pretty cool. Here's our chat window, much like ChatGPT. You can create new chats, you can rename a chat, like that, and we can mouse over details about the chat, and then there's a settings here for, do you want to save per chat model cache to disk or chat caches directory, where do you want to save all that? Over here on the right, these are the presets that I was talking about. So, selecting a preset here will change all these configurations, but let's take a look at what this preset looks like. So we have inference parameters. This I would leave as the defaults unless you really want to tune this by going to look at that model card on Hugging Face, where they might give you some recommendations on what parameters these should be. And if these names don't mean anything to you, like n_predict, then you can mouse over this little info tooltip here to get more details about that parameter. Next we have the prompt format. Again, this is just some prefixes and suffixes for your message formats. Then the pre-prompt, so you can do this message at the beginning of every prompt that you want. Then there's the model initialization. You can keep the entire model in RAM. That I think is on by default. One of the important parameters here is context length. So as you are doing your chatting with this model, then it'll keep this much context about their entire chat session. And you potentially can run out of that. And by running out, what does it do? So if we look here at the overflow, the default is stop at limit. And this happens to just stop the chat. You don't really get to make new messages with this model. So I recommend you pick one of the other options. You can either keep the system prompt in the first user message, truncate the middle, or maintain a rolling window and truncate past messages. I chose this keep a rolling window policy. Next we have hardware settings. So this is off by default, the GPU acceleration, and I set that to true. And then the number of layers, you can choose maybe 128. This is really up to you, your preference. But when I change that value, you can see this little button appears here to reload the model and apply configuration. So let's do that. Okay, then next we have the chat appearance. The default is plain text. I've chosen to keep my chat appearance as Markdown. And those are the important setting parameters. So let's actually chat with this Llama 2 model, right? So first let's say hello and see what it does. Alright, so it is a helpful coding AI assistant. Let's ask it to give us 5 jokes. Okay, not bad. Alright, let's ask for 5 favorite or famous actors and actresses. Really cool. So these answers might be based on its inferred knowledge, and I want to maybe ask it to generate new information, something that doesn't exist on the internet. So let's ask for 5 scenes for a short film about a samurai warrior. And there it goes. And it's very, very quick. And it's definitely working out very, very well. So I recommend you give this software a try. It's lmstudio, and tune it and play with it and have some fun. So that's all for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to learn more about large language models, check out the links in the description below. As always, please support this channel by subscribing and clicking the like button below.